Welcome to Crazy Facts of World YouTube channel. In this video, let's explore some of the key facts about initial space programs across the world. Let's start with this fact. What was the first artificial satellite launched into space? Answer is Sputnik 1, USSR, October 4th, 1957. And the fact is that the Soviet Union's Sputnik 1 was a 23-inch polished metal sphere with 4 radio antennas. It transmitted a simple beep-beep radio signal for 21 days until its batteries died. Its launch shocked the U.S., which had planned to launch a satellite during the International Geophysical Year, 1957 to 1958. Sputnik's success led to the creation of NASA in 1958 and fueled fears of Soviet technological dominance. Which animal became the first living creature to orbit Earth? Answer, Laika, USSR, November 3rd, 1957. Fact, Laika, a stray Moscow dog, was launched aboard Sputnik 2 with no plans for return. Soviet scientists claimed she survived for a week, but in 2002, it was revealed she died within hours from overheating due to a faulty thermal control system. Her mission proved living organisms could survive launch, paving the way for human spaceflight. What was NASA's first human spaceflight program? Answer, Project Mercury, 1958 to 1963. Fact, the program aimed to put a human in orbit and study physiological effects of space. Its iconic Mercury 7 astronauts, including John Glenn and Alan Shepard, trained in cramped capsules. The first crewed flight, Freedom 7, 1961, was suborbital, but Friendship 7, 1962, made John Glenn the first American to orbit Earth. Who was the first human in space? Answer is Yuri Gagarin, USSR, April 12, 1961. And the fact is that Gagarin's Vostok 1 capsule completed one orbit in 108 minutes, reaching a maximum altitude of 203 miles. He ejected at 23,000 feet during re-entry and parachuted separately, a fact hidden by the USSR to meet international flight rules. His flight made him a global celebrity, but he was later banned from spaceflight to protect his national treasure status. What was the first U.S. crewed spaceflight? Answer, Freedom 7, Alan Shepard, May 5, 1961. Fact, Shepard's 15-minute suborbital flight reached 116 miles altitude. Unlike Gagarin, he manually controlled the capsule. Delays due to weather and technical issues allowed the USSR to beat the US to orbit. Shepard later walked on the moon during Apollo 14, 1971. What was the first spacecraft to reach the moon? Answer is Luna 2, USSR, September 12, 1959. And the fact is that the spherical probe carried Soviet pennants made of pentagonal metal plates. It intentionally crashed near the Mare Imbrium, Sea of Rains, confirming the moon had no magnetic field. Luna 2's success marked the first human-made object to reach another celestial body. Which mission suffered the first fatal space program accident? Answer is Apollo 1, January 27, 1967, and the fact is that during a pre-launch test, a spark ignited the pure oxygen cabin, killing astronauts Grissom, White, and Chaffee in seconds. Flammable materials and a hatch that took 90 seconds to open doomed the crew. The disaster led to a 20-month hiatus and redesigns using nitrogen, oxygen, air, and quick-release hatches. What was the first successful U.S. satellite? Answer is Explorer 1, January 31st, 1958. And the fact is that, built by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, it carried a cosmic ray detector designed by James Van Allen. Data revealed belts of trapped radiation, now Van Allen belts, surrounding Earth. The satellite orbited until 1970 and marked America's entry into the space race. Who was the first woman in space? Answer is Valentina Tereshkova, USSR, June 16, 1963. And the interesting fact is that a textile worker and amateur parachutist, Tereshkova, was chosen for her political reliability. Her Vostok 6 mission orbited Earth 48 times over 3 days. She later became a Soviet political icon but never flew again. The US didn't send a woman to space until Sally Ride in 1983. What was the first crewed spacecraft to perform a spacewalk? Answer is Voskhod 2, Alexei Leonov, March 18, 1965. And the fact is that Leonov's 12-minute spacewalk nearly turned fatal when his suit ballooned, trapping him outside. He dangerously lowered suit pressure to squeeze back into the airlock. The crew then faced a faulty oxygen system and landed 240 miles off course in Siberia, surviving a night among wolves before rescue. What was the first communication satellite? Answer is Telstar 1, July 10, 1962. And the fact is that the beach ball-sized satellite relayed the first live transatlantic TV broadcast showing the Statue of Liberty, a baseball game, and President Kennedy. Radiation from U.S. nuclear tests damaged its transistors, killing it after 7 months. Telstar's orbit is now a graveyard of zombie satellites. Which rocket launched the first U.S. satellite? Answer is Juno I, January 31, 1958. Fact is that a modified Redstone ballistic missile, Juno I, was developed in just 3 months after Sputnik's launch. Its fourth stage was a cluster of 11 solid rocket motors. Explorer 1's success saved Wernher von Braun's team from political backlash after earlier failures. What was the first weather satellite? Answer is Tyros 1, April 1, 1960. And the fact is that the television infrared observation satellite, Tyros, captured 20,000 photos of Earth's cloud cover in 78 days, revolutionizing meteorology. Its 2 cameras used analog tape recorders, and images were transmitted via radio to ground stations. What first photographed the moon's far side? Answer is through Luna 3, October 7, 1959. And the fact is that the Soviet probe used a film camera and onboard photo processor to develop images, which were scanned by a cathode ray tube and radioed to Earth. The grainy photos revealed a mountainous, cratered landscape debunking myths of a dark side teeming with alien life. Interesting, nah? What was NASA's first successful moon impact probe? Answer is Ranger 7, July 31, 1964. And the fact is that after 12 failed attempts, Ranger 7's cameras took 4,308 photos in the final 17 minutes before crashing into the moon. The images, 1,000 times clearer than Earth-based telescopes, showed safe landing zones for future Apollo missions. Which U.S. rocket exploded live on TV in 1957? Answer is Vanguard TV3, December 6, 1957. And the fact is that the 3.5-pound satellite was to be America's answer to Sputnik. Instead, the rocket rose 4 feet before collapsing in flames. Humiliated, the U.S. media dubbed it Kaputnik and Stay Putnik. The satellite, recovered from the wreckage, now sits in the Smithsonian. What was the first spacecraft with a computer? Answer is Gemini Guidance Computer, 1965, and the fact is that, weighing 58 pounds, it had 4 KB of memory and processed data via punch cards. Astronauts input commands via a numeric keypad. Despite glitches, it enabled precise orbital maneuvers critical for Apollo's lunar missions. What was the first interplanetary mission? Answer is Mariner 2, August 27, 1962. And the fact is that the probe survived overheating, solar panel failures, and a gyroscope malfunction to fly by Venus. It confirmed Venus's scorching surface temperature, 900 degrees Fahrenheit or 482 degrees Celsius, and detected solar wind, a discovery that earned a Nobel Prize. Which program tested docking for Apollo? Answer is Project Gemini, 1965 to 1966. And the fact is that Gemini's 10 crewed missions pioneered spacewalks, orbital rendezvous, and long-duration flights. The cramped capsule forced astronauts to sit upright for days, leading to nicknames like the Guzmobile, after Gus Grissom. What first orbited the moon? Answer is Apollo 8, December 21 to 27, 1968. And the fact is that astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders became the first humans to see the moon's far side and Earthrise. Their live Christmas Eve broadcast, reading from Genesis, united 1 billion viewers during the turbulent 1960s. Thank you for watching this video. I wish you can like, share, and subscribe our channel.